Lookism is destined to fail. Or so I thought, at least. Before Lookism even aired, it already had two things going against it right out of the gate. One being that Netflix got its grubby little hands on it, and they are known for being the final resting place to any anime they get sole ownership of. And second being, it's a webtoon, which more often than not are made of really low quality and or have a ton of skipped content. And due to this, they normally never even live to see a second season. Then there's a third reason, but we can get to that one later. But for now, what is Lookism? This story follows Daniel Park, a short, fat, nerdy looking kid with a single mother that can barely make ends meet, and he is subject A to some of the worst and most degrading bullying I have ever seen in real life or in fiction. And one day his mom witnesses what is happening to him at school and is able to pull some strings to get him transferred out of there into a new school, living on his own in a different town. Then the night before he has to go to school, he wakes up in a new body that's super tall, good looking and fit, basically just the prime male specimen of the human race. But his old body is still right next to him sleeping. When he tries to move it and wake it up, he realizes he wasn't dreaming and the other body is now sleeping next to him. He can now switch between his new and old body just by falling asleep. So what does he do? He attends school the next day in his new body and soon realizes his life is changed forever because everyone made fun of him and bullied him for the way he looked. No matter what he did, he was put down for it, and every girl shunned him. But in this new body he has, anything he does he is praised for. Nobody picks on him. Every girl throws themselves at his feet, all because of the way he looks. However, there still are some bullies that want to knock him down a peg because they think he's too high and mighty and looking down on them. But with Daniel's vast experience of being a human punching bag and seeing so many different ways being beaten up, with his new peak specimen body, he's actually a grade A fighter. Even though he still doesn't want to fight anyone, he just wants to be friends, but he gets wrapped up into sticky situations a lot, mostly due to the people that are like his old body. He wishes to be friends with them, but since they're getting bullied, he often has to stick up for them. I think you get the gist of it now. If I really had to break it down to even simpler terms, I would just say Lookism is One Piece if it took place in a modern day high school scenario. Daniel starts out all alone, slowly builds up a number of friends with a ton of varying backgrounds, from old used to be bullies in the fashion, to mutes, to used to be bullied aspiring rappers, all developing relationships together and sticking up for one another and their future dreams and aspirations. And in the manhwa, every single character is introduced at one point or another, becomes indispensably important to the story, and at least gets a chunk of chapters sooner or later laid out for them just so we can learn more about each and every character and see them all grow and change throughout the series. Which is why I think Lookism is in a league of its own in the manhwa community, just like One Piece is in the manga community, because to be able to lay out such an elaborate story with so many characters, having them all intertwined so nicely, you have to be a creative genius. Which brings us to the third reason a Lookism anime should have been destined to fail. They only made 8 episodes adapting 27 chapters of the manhwa out of 400 plus that are out there, and since the more you read the better this story gets, this should have been a big blow to the anime, but the director and studio threw me a massive curveball and surprised me. And remember how I said manhwa adaptations are really famous for having a ton of skipped content? Well, Lookism actually has a ton of skipped content, but the difference between Lookism and the rest is the directors did it in such a tasteful and unique way. When I read the manhwa, the main points that stuck out to me were, in no particular order, is that you have to accept yourself for who you are, and if you don't like it, better yourself in that way. Being kind to one person can change their life forever. You never know what someone's going through or what they have been through, and bullying someone can ruin their life. However, in the anime, they cut out basically all of the side stories where you get to get all that one-on-one time with the side characters and get to see what happens to them that makes them grow, and instead they streamlined it to make it focus more on David, and by doing this, they changed the main ideas while also staying true to the message. They kept that you have to accept yourself and better yourself, but by cutting all the side stories, it made it seem more like David was just acting as his role model for what he believes in and standing up for the low man on the totem pole, and others follow suit because they see him doing it. Basically, they made it so you should be a role model for others and take that first step so people can follow. And these ideas were driven home by the scene they chose to end on. Despite me thinking the more the better, they've proved me wrong again, because the final episode we see David coming out of his cocoon, accepting himself for who he is, realizing all the good and bad he's done in his life, and realizing how many wonderful people he has now and in the past around him supporting him while he betters himself. But no matter how intricate the story is or emotionally impactful it may be, there are going to be people put off by the odd animation and art style, and admittedly, it's pretty rough around the edges. I mean, especially when it's not focusing on something, but with the show not being super focused on action scenes, they can get away with having mediocre animation, because just adding movements, voices, emotions to these characters, it's enough to breathe even more life into Lookism, making it just that much more enjoyable because it's already masterfully written. And my only point left to be proven wrong is that it would go and die on Netflix, but there's already rumors, I mean, it's nothing confirmed, but rumors of season 2 coming to Netflix. So with that, I don't think Lookism will fail. Quite frankly, I think it could be the first Netflix original that could actually flourish and go on for multiple seasons. And of course, there's still a lot to this story to unpack, like all of the gangism stuff, but we can save that for the season 2 review. But for now, if you want to see a really emotionally charged anime that deals with empathy and self-improvement that makes you want to better yourself, go check out Lookism on Netflix. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed my review, impressions, and reactions to the Lookism anime. If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It really does help me out. And make sure you check out my other socials for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.